If you want to see someone who doesn't know what they're doing not fix a motherboard, that's what this crap is. This is the ASrock H77 Pro4-M Part 2. We're back to this pile of crap. This was the first ASrock that failed, and it started me buying all these motherboards. And now it's decided to blow up again. I was testing a couple GeForce 210 graphic cards yesterday and it was running fine. But I plug in this GeForce 710 this morning and it decides to blow up. I smelled smoke and grabbed the power supply to turn it off and it was hot. I opened it up and this transformer was super hot. I went to pull the graphics card out and this audio block was hot. And that's when I noticed this chip was super hot. Just on standby power, watch it get hot. It gets pretty hot and it's not even turned on. And in fact it won't turn on. I think the supervisor senses something and stops it turning on. What caused it I don't know. The only thing I changed was the GT710 graphics card. I think I had this card running in another PC about a year ago. But let's see if it's shorted. On the 12 volts, the first 3 pins, it's showing 1.4K, so that's okay. On 3.3 volts, 4th pin in from the notch, it's showing 5.8K, which is okay. I don't think it was a video card, but maybe it was crooked and was shorting out pins. It's not likely because the card was seated and the slot's not sloppy. The power supply is brown in the area of the transformer. Maybe it just decided to blow up. I did a quick check of components on the motherboard and this was the only one that was getting hot. Maybe the chip just decided to fail. The prudent thing now is to see if it's shorted before we yank it. We can grab the datasheet, then check the pin out, and check if a pin is shorted that shouldn't be shorted. This is a bit hard because you have to understand the individual circuits that are connected to this chip. Just for curiosity, we'll probe it. Looking at the datasheet, it doesn't seem like some of those pins should be buzzing. But let's do it the easy way and see if there's double shorts on passives. That doesn't seem right. That doesn't look right. As a bit of a confirmation, we can grab our other ASrock that's destroyed and test that one. And you can see there's not many direct paths to ground on this one. We put some lower melting point leaded solder on it. Tape it up with Captain so parts nearby don't explode from the heat. Then just hot air it off. Then just wick off the excess. Now we check if it's still shorted. This cap's not shorted anymore. And these caps are not shorted anymore. I did a quick start test, but the thing doesn't start. So it either has another fault or it needs that audio chip to start. The problem with swapping out the first part that gets hot is there could be a greater short further down the line. A more solid short downstream won't get as hot, and it could be pulling a higher current through a chip upstream. So it's prudent to check the pads for a short that isn't a ground. Basically, some chips are expensive and you don't want to blow them up straight away. The lowest reading I got was this pin and it was 20K. Of course, that's excluding the grounds. We can also check if there's an over voltage. Maybe the power supply to a rail is shorted and pumping 12 volts straight into the chip. Looking at the datasheet, there doesn't seem to be any labels that's powering this chip. We know the chip got hot on standby power, so we'll try 5 volts standby from the net list. And we see a part highlighted near our chip. And if we follow the part through, we get this pin over here, number 29. And looking at the datasheet, it says LDO in, and that's a low dropout linear regulator built into the chip. And when we check pin 29, we see the 5 volt standby. Just as an aside, what I'm finding weird on the 3 volt standby is there's only half a volt, but there is power on the 3 volt standby _A. Basically out of these 3 volt standbys, I'm only seeing the _A that works. If I check the second ruined motherboard, it does have 3.4 volts on the standby and 3.3 volts on the _A. We know the 3 volt standby _A is generated here at this linear regulator. 5 volt standby comes in on this pin and 3 volt standby _A comes out on this pin. All these yellow dots are the _A rail. Now let's see if there's something nearby on the 3 volt standby rail. This transistor looks interesting because it could switch through the 3 volt standby from the _A. And it's a P-channel MOSFET. The source and drain are like the contacts on a relay. and the gate is the thing that turns on the relay. And to get it to work, we need power on our source. We pull our gate low, and then the source will flow through to the drain. This pin is our _A, and it's showing 3.4 volts. We check our gate, and it's being pulled high to 5 volts. And we check our drain, and there's nothing on the 3 volt standby. But now let's ground our gate. And we now see 3.4 volts on the 3 volt standby line. If we click on the gate, a part near the Super I/O lights up. I'm going to guess the Super I/O turns it on when it starts, so I'm going to ignore it for now. Back to the chip. Because the Realtek ALC892 is a $15 chip, I pulled this off the ruined motherboard and put it onto this motherboard. You just have to match the marker dot to the board and then line up the pins. Slop on the solder thick like this, then solder wick all the blobs out until there's no bridges. What you will have to do is check every pin to its connected part on the motherboard. Basically you can't see if the pin is actually connected, so you have to check each one. If you've got the schematic, you just click on the pin. This one says no net, but this one over here has a 5 volt net. Then you just have to check the continuity between the pin and the part. Check it from the actual pin, not the soldered pad. Every pin with a net is connected to its part, and I don't see any bridges, so I say this is okay. Next we have to check the whole board again for shorts. And that includes all the rails, like at the inductor filters. VCore is going to read low when the CPU is fitted because it uses a lot of power. Just check that it's not 0. We've got nothing left to do except cross our fingers, and we get bupkis. Now I'm wondering about that 3 volt standby, so I'm going to ground the gate on the P MOSFET. And now we have life. And when I turn off the MOSFET, it turns off. First thing I'm going to look at is that Novaton Super I/O pin. Now we know the gate of our P MOSFET is connected to this part over here, which is connected to the Super I/O, so let's go check it. And there's no part on either of the motherboards. Since it's not connected, the question is, where is the pull down that prevents the 5 volt float? I've had a look, but I don't think I can work it out. This is our gate floating high at 5 volts. Its net connects to here. This is just a capacitor to ground, which I've checked and it's okay. But if I click on this pin, it goes to this N-channel transistor here. So we have our 5 volt float on pin 3, but there is a ground on pin 2, which could pull down our 5 volts. Our activation pin is pin 1, and if we follow that along, this pin on the chipset lights up. Because that's an N-channel transistor that needs a high on the activation pin to connect the other 2 pins to ground, the chipset could be faulty and not supplying a high signal. The rest of the net continues to another P-channel MOSFET, and I think this thing is acting weird. Our 5 volt volt is connected to the activation pin of this P-channel MOSFET. Pin 2 is the ATX standby coming in, and pin 3 supplies the standby 5 volts for the motherboard. I checked the operation, but it doesn't seem right. We check the activation pin or the gate of this P-channel MOSFET, and we see our 5 volt float. We check pin 2, and that's our ATX 5 volt standby coming in. We check pin 3, and we see our 5 volt standby that's powering the board. And the problem is, pin 2 should not be putting 5 volts to pin 3 when the gate is high. I ground the gate, which should turn on the 5 volts to pin 3, but when I remove it, it's still 5 volts. The problem is, if this P-channel MOSFET is faulty and I change it, I still have to pull this pin low to get it to work. And I can't test the theory that this N-channel is pulling it down from the chipset, because supplying 5 volt to the gate net of the N-channel MOSFET could blow the chipset. The chipset runs on 1.05 volts, so it's scary going higher than that. The quickest way to do it was put a bodge across this capacitor and short it straight to ground. But to be safe, we have to check the current to ground of the 5 volt float. And it's 2 microamps, so I think it's going to be safe. Woo, the future. I had a thought last night, and I think I've changed my mind. We know this MOSFET is faulty, because it doesn't change when we give it high or low on the gate pin. So I'm thinking maybe it's shorted internally. And it's the ATX 5 volt standby on pin 2 that's driving the gate up to 5 volts. It's not pretty, and it's not the right P-channel MOSFET, but I checked and it is connected. We're now getting 3.4 volts on our 3 volt standby without having to pull down the gate. So it's fingers crossed and we get fan spin. And we have picture. Well, that's a disappointment because it wasn't a fail. Lol. To give you an idea how bad I am at repairs, I started on the 17th of January and today is the 25th.